For much more on Scottie Scheffler, let's bring Mark Zecchino and Bob Weeks in the conversation. Mark, starting with you, what impressed you the most about Scheffler's performance?
Oh, where do you start? I mean, you could go on forever. Becomes only the second player in history to get 2 green jackets in their first 5 starts or less. You got to go back to the 30s and Horton Smith to find somebody else who's done what Scottie just did on Sunday. But for me, when I'm really thinking about this, guys, I'm thinking about the fact that, in my opinion, and this is crazy that I'm going to say this out loud, but he won this green jacket with his A game for about 10 holes, maybe 10 and just a bit. I mean, he played well all week. You obviously have to play well. You can't back up and go and grab a green jacket, but it started on the 8th green, 8, 9, 10, and then the way he finished that back 9, I mean, he made a huge putt for birdie on 8 after a mediocre chip, and then really closed the deal on 9, 10, and 11, holes where everybody else was backing up large, making huge mistakes. He birdied 2 of those 3 and limited the damages at 11, and then he just went on from there. The thing I find so impressive is when one part of his game isn't working, the other one kicks in. He hits 2 of his first 5 greens. His short game picks him up. Then his ball striking kicks in finally, 9, 10, and forward. He starts making birdies. He's clearly the best player in the world. There is no question.
Well, before the Masters started, we had a lot of conversations whether Scottie Scheffler was the biggest favorite at the Masters since Tiger Woods in his prime. Scottie Scheffler wins the Masters by 4 shots. Bob, it might be unfair to ask you if he's the most dominant player since Tiger Woods, but is this the most dominant stretch of golf we've seen since Tiger in his prime?
I mean, there have been some other ones that have come to mind. Jordan Spieth had a good run. Dustin Johnson had a good run. You know, if you're talking about majors, Brooks Koepka won the number in a short period of time. So there are guys, and it's always a little bit dangerous to sort of focus on the hot topic and the hot player. But Scottie Scheffler really doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, especially now that his putter is working. Remember, it wasn't that long ago, the early part of the season, we were sitting there watching him missing 2 and 3 footers. But he has an intensity that doesn't seem to show outwardly. Like if you look at him, it looks like he's walking along casually, looks like he's in very calm within his thoughts. But underneath there is a focus and there is a drive. You talk to his players, and he'll tell you he is as competitive as any player out there. And I think that is kind of what drives him a little bit now, to try and find an answer when his putter isn't working, or to try and battle through. At 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, there was a 4-way tie for the lead at the Masters, and an hour later, Scottie's got a 3-shot lead. So it just goes to show you that not only is he playing well, but I think he also can maybe scare other players and force them to play shots that they may not be comfortable with, because they know they can't keep up otherwise.
It was so much fun to watch Scottie Scheffler. Mark, question for you. How many more majors does Scottie Scheffler get in 2024?
I think at least one more. I absolutely love him at Pinehurst, guys. Those greens look big. The square footage is big, but the effective square footage of landing area is completely small at Pinehurst. The Turtleback Donald Ross greens, you need to be a precise iron player, and you need to be tight. Need to be great off tight lies around the green, similar to what we saw this week. There's no rough at Pinehurst. So if you're giving me the tiniest targets possibly on the U.S. Open road, maybe up there with Pebble Beach, and then tight chipping areas, how do you not love Scottie Scheffler? So my question is, not does he have more than one major this year? My question is, does he have more than 2?
Bob, what do you think about that?
Majors are pretty hard to win, that's for sure. And the better he plays between these majors, the more time he's going to have to sort of think about it and maybe get a little nervous. But don't forget, he's also got a baby on the way. That might be the distraction that the other players are hoping for to bring him down to their level just a little bit. I would say one more is a pretty good bet.
Well, Scottie Scheffler birdied 6 of the final 10 holes to win the green jacket for the second time in the last 3 years.